Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection SPD A-Squad Pink Ranger figure review. There is something significant to talk about with this figure in regards to accuracy, but before we get to that, let's just kind of go over your basics. You know, all these A-Squad figures have a lot of sameness to them, including the accessories. You know, they each include their really basic weapon, which, as I say in every review, is honestly fine. There's not a lot to the weapons in the first place. They're basically just these black generic guns from like a cheap sci-fi movie with a couple different colors on them, so it's pretty hard to mess them up. Then you just have the standard accessories, which are the generic blast part and then two extra hands, one a closed fist and one kind of a karate chop hand, and of course the ones you have on her, which are holding weapons hands, which unfortunately does have that same problem if it doesn't hold this quite right. That is definitely kind of a consistent issue with the A-Squad figures, is they can't all hold the weapons right. And I'll say, other than the stuff I'm about to talk about with the helmet, I think it looks pretty much just like all the other A-Squad figures. And by that I mean I think the details look fine. I think the rest of the paint looks decent, the proportions are good, you know, the no loose joint problems or anything like that. Like, all of these are very close to the same, so if you've seen my reviews or any other reviews of the A-Squad figures, it's basically around the same stuff. You know, your classic articulation, ball joint here, swiveling, you got your knee joint here, you have a nice ball joint here at the foot. You have chest and waist articulation technically, but it is blocked by this armor. You have the elbow articulation, you have the swiveling, you have the ball joint, you have the head and neck articulation. Again, no loose joint problems. So other than this helmet thing I'm about to discuss here, it has the same general quality and feel of the A-Squad, which I think is totally fine. These are kind of interesting figures because, as I've mentioned, they're basically in-space helmets in generic, like, kingdom-looking armor. And outside of this, I think she looks fine for what she is, just like all the other ones. The only other thing I will note in terms of positives is I do like the proportions on this one. It's the same exact mold as Red's, which we're going to be doing a comparison here in a minute of, but I wanted to note that because I felt that Red's should have been a little bit bulkier because that's the way the character stature is in the show, but Pink's fits right in because it's actually more in line with her stature in the show. Now, the significant thing to talk about with this is in regards to the helmet, because it is inaccurate, because it's using just a repurposed version of Red's helmet with the visor. It's kind of a subtle difference that some people might not notice, but it is there. Just for a comparison, if you don't know, you know, obviously these are using the space helmets, and all they really have to do is repurpose them for the A-Squad. So in most of the other reviews, I've showed off like, oh hey, here it is next to the space one, so you can see them reusing the helmet. And so here is in space Pink. And you can see the helmet is different. You know, it's kind of got more of a rounded look. And if you actually look up pictures of A-Squad Pink or even in Space Pink online, it's actually even more different because this one actually has a much more angular look even than in Space Pink is supposed to. Like, so this is a little bit inaccurate too. But even with this, you can tell it's using a different visor. And for that same comparison here, see Red, it's just using the exact same visor. And this is what I was talking about, the stature. They're the same. I understood why they did it because it's kind of a cost-saving measure, but I kind of wish she had a more unique mold. But again, that's the problem here, is you do have them reusing the same one. And of course, you know, this is a time where this is a significant complaint about the Lightning Collection. It definitely does suck, and especially with stuff like Blue having the white visor, it does create this inconsistency across the board with them, which is unfortunate, and there shouldn't be that type of issues. But it's one of those things where I'm trying to calibrate my complaints to the people that are acting like Hasbro's purposefully sabotaging the brand by doing stuff like this, which is just kind of nuts. But yeah, this does suck. And what I don't get about this is that it's just so easy to do it right because you already have the helmets. That's what makes it easy. All you had to do was pop this weird stuff on her head, like this little futuristic bald cap, and it's so easy to do. And I don't understand why that happened. I mean, I'm sure it was easier to be like, oh, no one's going to notice the 2 pages of the Puppy and Pigeon book aren't there at the end and just repaint it. But it would have just been so easy, and it just creates this inconsistency that sucks. With that being said, when it's standing at the shelf at a decent distance, it's not that noticeable. And let me just kind of bring in a team lineup to see how they all look together given some of the inconsistencies with the helmets. Okay, so here we have the whole team together to sort of see how much you might notice the differences being Pink and Red's helmets matching and then the white visor sticking out. I mean, you can definitely notice it, but I don't find it to be that huge of a deal, to be honest. Actually, the thing I find to be more noticeable is the stature. Like, because Red kind of fits in more with the guy proportions, that's what kind of makes this arrangement look inaccurate for me. That's the thing I notice more. I feel like Blue, I only really notice looking at them together because I'm looking for it. Not that it's not noticeable, but if this is on display, it's not something that's gonna have me that upset. Same thing with a degree to Pink's helmet. Because they're still so similar, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not like excusing them or anything, and I definitely think it should have been done. I'm just saying that for me, you know, I wish it was fixed. I hate that it happened. I wish they would be way better about that stuff. But I'm not that mad because, like, they're so similar anyway that when they're on the shelf like this, it's still kind of a neat display. That being said, it does suck having those inconsistencies, and I wish that didn't happen, especially with this one right here at the end, because it would have been so easy to fix. And so it makes it weird to get to a recommendation at the end, because it is really cool we got the A Squad, and I don't want to overwrite all the little mistakes they made with this, especially with this and this, because it's just cool to get them, because that's like the same logic of, doesn't matter if the Toku movie sucked, the old characters showed up. Like, so I'm not saying that none of the mistakes matter because we got A Squad, but I do want to acknowledge it's really cool we have these and it's neat to have them in the collection, and I feel it creates maybe a little bit more of a desire for them because you worry that they might not come out with them again, as they might not be something that they would double dip in. So it creates kind of a weird recommendation sphere. I would say that if you can overlook the mistakes and you're really impatient and you're worried they might not release them again or that these might become rare, then maybe go for it. Otherwise, if you're not that impatient or excited to get them, maybe wait it out. I can't say for sure. I don't think these are as popular of characters as the Psycho Rangers to get a second type of release, but you never know, especially with things like exclusives. So there is, I would say, at least a decent chance that sometime down the road we could get like an A Squad 5-pack, even if it's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, that would have at the very least the fixed visors that would all match. If not, maybe they could do something like the proportions on red being changed. So if you're willing to be patient, maybe wait. I would say my personal middle ground recommendation, if you're worried about them not making more, but you might want to wait for some fixed ones, is maybe pick up like one of your favorites or something, and then you at least have one or two of your favorites if they go on sale. And then if they don't do anything like that, you'll at least have something from A Squad that was neat that they released it, but then wait to see if they release a 5-pack that might be fixed. Because like as it stands, I think it's really cool we have these, and setting aside the mistakes, like pretending that they fixed the accuracy on this and this, I do think they look good in terms of all the other details look solid and whatnot. But it is kind of a mixed bag as a set, so it makes it hard to recommend between the inconsistencies of them coming together as a team and also the uncertainty of what's going to get re-releases and when. But that's about it for this one though, guys. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.